At 7:22 local time on April 9, 2026, the Greek-owned tanker NJ Earth was 40 minutes into what should have been a routine transit of the Strait of Hormuz, one of only a handful of ships to attempt the crossing since the ceasefire was announced the night before. Her captain had done this run dozens of times. Cargo 2.1 million barrels of crude oil. Market value $230 million. Destination Rotterdam. Unknown to the captain, an IRGC patrol boat had been tracking NJ Earth since she entered Iranian territorial waters. What the crew received next was not a warning shot. It was an email. Iran's new protocol requires any vessel wanting to transit the strait to send a cargo manifest to Iranian authorities. The assessment takes an unspecified amount of time. And then, in the words of an Iranian official, the ship is given a few seconds to pay in Bitcoin. $1 per barrel of oil on board. For the NJ Earth and her 2.1 million barrels, that is a $2.1 million Bitcoin transaction, completed in seconds. Because if it isn't completed in seconds, the ship does not pass. Here is what Iran actually did to the Strait of Hormuz. Before this war, ships transited down the center of the strait, splitting the 33-mile width between Iranian and Omani waters. Standard practice. International law. No fees. Iran has now released a new navigational map. It says the main traffic lane, the center of the strait, has a likelihood of the presence of various types of anti-ship mines. That is the old route. It is now officially declared a minefield. The new route runs inside Iranian territorial waters. Ships must hug the Iranian coast, and if you look at what this actually means, every ship that transits Hormuz now does so inside Iranian waters, under Iranian escort, after paying Iran in Bitcoin. Iran is not just charging a toll. Iran has redrawn the geography of the world's most important waterway. Under international maritime law, specifically the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, ships have an absolute right of transit passage through international straits. The law is explicit that rights shall not be impeded, and charges may not be levied on ships by reason only of their passage. Iran's $1 per barrel toll is exactly that, a charge for passage. It violates international law. Iran's response: it has not ratified that convention. It considers the Strait of Hormuz its own waters. And it is pointing to a model, the Suez Canal, where Egypt charges fees. But the Suez Canal is man-made infrastructure built and maintained by Egypt. The Strait of Hormuz is a natural waterway that has been free for navigation for centuries. There's no post-1945 precedent for any country charging tolls on a natural international strait. And that is the problem. Because if Iran gets away with this, if the ceasefire includes acceptance of Iranian toll authority over Hormuz, then who stops Malaysia from charging tolls in the Strait of Malacca? Who stops Morocco from taxing Gibraltar? Every maritime choke point in the world just became a potential toll booth. Here is where it gets strange. On Wednesday morning, a reporter asked President Trump about Iran's toll plan. His exact answer: "We're thinking of doing it as a joint venture. It's a way of securing it, also securing it from lots of other people. It's a beautiful thing. We're thinking of doing it as a joint venture. It's a beautiful thing, a joint venture with Iran to collect tolls on the Strait of Hormuz." Hours after his administration went to war partly to prevent Iranian control of that waterway, then, within hours, the White House reversed. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, "The ceasefire requires the strait to be open without limitation, including tolls." The word "including tolls" means no tolls. And yet the ceasefire framework that Trump accepted reportedly includes a provision for Iran to levy transit fees. Meanwhile, 100 to 120 ships used to transit this strait every day. Since the ceasefire was announced, 2 ships have passed through. 2, the NJ Earth and 1 other. The rest, hundreds of vessels, are still anchored in the Persian Gulf, waiting. Because nobody knows what Iran will actually do when they get close to the new route. Iran reopened the Strait of Hormuz, but the Hormuz that reopened is not the same strait that closed 40 days ago. The old one was free. The new one has a Bitcoin wallet, a new map with mines, an IRGC escort, and a claim of sovereignty that has no legal precedent in the modern era. Islamabad talks start Saturday. This Hormuz control is the issue that will determine whether the ceasefire becomes peace or the prelude to the next war. Subscribe now. That video drops the moment something happens.